You have ever said to yourself, how in the heck do I set intentions? Then tonight's episode is definitely for you. And so tonight I'm going to discuss how to set intentions based upon your natal chart. Okay. And so, if you have ever struggled with setting intentions or feel like the intentions that you set aren't really like strong or powerful enough, then you definitely want to stay tuned to tonight's episode, okay? And so, if you are new to me, to the channel, to any of my content in social media land, my name is kkatrice, and I am the Natal Chart Navigator. I am an intuitive astro reader, and I teach open-minded, ambitious, divorced women over 35 how to use astrology to increase their finances and get aligned with their true selves. Okay, and so I am not going to be before you long tonight on tonight's episode, but I do want to talk about how to set intentions based upon your natal chart. And so last night, yesterday was the new moon in Scorpio. Okay, and so yesterday I went live. I normally upload a video on Mondays, but yesterday I decided to go live, new moon. So I was like, you know what? Let's go live. So I went live and I was talking about basically explaining the new moon in Scorpio. And I talked about how to find within your natal chart, how to find the house, and also how to see how the new moon is going to impact you based on the house, and any planets or any planets that you have within the house, within Scorpio, or within or any aspects to the new moon. Okay. Now, when I talk about the chart, I use whole sign houses. Okay. So let me not stress, but reiterate that I use whole sign houses. Okay. I do not use the Placidus house system. Now, if you use Placidus, then you need to look and see where Scorpio is and what house is Scorpio in, because in Placidus things kind of overlap. Okay. But when I speak, to make it a lot easier, and whole sign house system is the traditional house system. And so I use that. Okay. But if you use Placidus, just know that it is, there's a it could be, it most likely is in two houses. Okay. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about, in the comments of tonight's live, I will link a video. I think it's in the Astrology Basics playlist, where I talk about the difference between whole sign and Placidus. I will double check that. And if it is in there, I will put that playlist in the comments. I will pin a comment with that playlist. And if it's not there, I'll just pin the video for that. Okay. So you can understand the difference between the two. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about how to set intentions based upon your natal chart. Okay. So you set intentions with the new moon. Okay. If you're following the lunar cycle, when you're setting your intentions, you set intentions with the new moon, and you release things with the full moon. Okay. So the new moon that we just had was in the sign of Scorpio. Okay. And so the first thing that you want to do, and if you have pen and paper, you want to get a piece of pen and paper and write this down. Okay. So you'll know what to do. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is when you have your chart, okay, if you have your natal chart. Now, to pull your natal chart, an accurate natal chart, you need your time of birth, your date of birth, and your place of birth. Now, if you don't know your time, the exact time, but you know it was around about time, you can use that time. But it's really important for an accurate chart that it is your exact birth time. Okay. The more exact the birth time is, the more accurate the chart is. Okay. Because the birth time is what sets your rising sign. Which your rising sign is the first house, and that's what dictates the setup of your chart. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is, once after you've gotten your chart, okay, is you want to locate the house, that the sign that the new moon is going to be in. Okay, you want to locate what house that's in. Okay, that's the first thing you want to do. So in this case, we're talking about Scorpio. And so you want to locate where Scorpio is in your chart. So for example, using my chart, Scorpio is in the sign, and is the fourth house is where Scorpio is in my chart. Okay. And so fourth house is the house of home and family, your ancestors, your roots, your it's also real estate. Okay. Things like that, anything that has to do with the home, with your family. Okay. And so you want to locate where that energy is. Okay. All right. And so then once you know, okay, this is the house that it's in. So for me, the intentions that I set are going to be based upon things that have to do with the things of the house. So for me, for my home, for my family, and all of that. So I literally just moved. Okay, I moved from Florida. And so now the intentions that I set going forward are intentions for me, for where I am. Okay, for where do I want my family, my household, what do I want to see within that realm of my life. Okay, now if you have planets in the house where you have where the new moon is, where you're going to be setting these intentions, then you have to take into account that energy as well. Okay. So I have Jupiter in the fourth house, Jupiter and Scorpio in the fourth house. Okay. So wherever Jupiter goes, there's always going to be blessings, but it is based upon the energy that is in. So like for example, Jupiter in the sign of Gemini is not going to bring you these huge expansive blessings like it would in the sign of Sagittarius, which is the sign that it rules. Okay, it's at home in Sagittarius, and it is in detriment in the sign of Jupiter. Okay, so in Jupiter and Gemini is going to give you blessings, but it's going to be like scattered blessings, and it's going to be like half things. It's not going to be the whole big expansive thing, but you will be blessed. It's just that your blessings aren't going to come big. They're going to come like, kind of scattered, right? And it's going to be like little blessings, little things, but not like this big, huge, grand thing. Okay. So mine is in the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio energy is water energy. So it's very emotional energy. Okay. And it's also it's very perceptive. It's a very secretive energy, but it's an energy where it is emotional security is very, very important. Is a very big component of Scorpio energy. It wants to be emotionally secure in whatever it has and whatever is going on. Okay. And so you want that emotional security within your home, within your family, within your roots. Okay. Now, Jupiter expands that. Okay. Jupiter expands the things of your house. It puts a bigger focus on that. Okay. So you have to take that into account. So when I'm setting intentions for my home, I'm setting intentions for there to be emotional growth within my family, for there to be emotional, my family to be very close knit, very emotionally close, very loving. We look out for each other. There's no biting or anything like that. But I'm also setting intentions for, wanting to get some real estate going, purchasing real estate and really getting into real estate. I also want to, look into businesses that will be long lasting, that I can do with my family, um, that will be long lasting, way to outlast me and my children and my children's children, right? So I'm looking into that, into purchasing, getting into real estate, getting into businesses that I can, into things that will generate long-term wealth for me. And I've already, started seeing some things, and had some things come to me that really were blessings. And it's just information, but it's information that is going to help me, to catapult me, to help me with the intentions that I'm setting, right? And so you always want to take into account. Now, if I had Mercury here, this new moon, this would be a new beginning within my thought process and how I think about what's going on within my family. It could have something to do with, like I said last night, on the live last night, there's going to be a lot of revelations that are going to come up. And these revelations, even though some of them may look like they're devastating and they're, a curse, or they're bad, or, what I'm saying, in the long run, it's going to be good for you, and it's going to bring you the emotional stability. It could bring you, the mental stability, because Mercury deals with the mind. And so, you always want to take that into account, whatever planets are there, and then you set your intentions based on the house and what's going on within the house. Okay. Now, some people say that when you set intentions, that you should think about how you're going to get it done, but that is not what you're supposed to do. What intentions are your desires. They're things that you want to see to come into fruition within your life, right? And so what do you want to see come into fruition within that area of life? Now, I also talked about last night on the live how, and this is just my thought process, okay? This is my thought process. This isn't like mainstream or anything, because you don't hear many people saying this. But when I set intentions for my Scorpio house, I also set intentions for my Taurus house as well, which is right across the street. Okay. So fourth house is home, and across from fourth house is the 10th house, which is your public persona, it's your career house, is your legacy. Okay. And so I set intentions for that as well, because the full moon is when you release things. Okay. And so you release things during the full moon. So not only, and most people only talk about, oh, look at the house that the full moon is occurring in, and that's where you're going to release things. But you also release things. You also release things in the house across the street as well, because they work in pairs. Okay. When you look at the zodiac wheel, there's 12 energies. Okay. There's 12 houses. Okay. And it's a wheel. So you cut the wheel in half, it sits up top and sits at the bottom. And so the energies that's across from each other, they're a pair. Okay. That's called the axis. Okay. And so the Scorpio Taurus axis is the axis that is our security. Scorpio is our emotional security. Taurus is our material security. Okay. And so when you set your intentions with the new moon, you set those intentions for the axis. Okay. Now somebody may hear this and be like, no, that's wrong. Da, da, da. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't go back and forth with people, because this is what I do. And it works for me. And I'm teaching you how I use the chart in order to rebuild my life after I got divorced. And so I only teach what I use. I teach what I know. I teach what I use. And so if you're looking at this and you may be like, oh, I don't think that's right. Cool. I ain't for you. I'll tell you like that. I'm not for you. And I'm not trying to convince you. But for those who see the value in how I am presenting it, this is what I do. And it makes a whole lot of sense. Okay. And so, and the reason I say that is because when I first got into personal development and, spirituality and all of that, and I started learning about intention settings and the new moon and all of that, all the spiritual stuff. I used to get confused, and I used to be like, they'd be like, okay, you release things on the full moon. But then I was like, okay, so we releasing stuff. When do we set intentions? Because they're like, oh no, you don't set your intentions until the new moon. And then I was like, oh, okay, so the new moon comes, but they only talked about the house, the energy that the new moon was going to be occurring in. Never said anything about the full moon. So to make sense of it all to me, said, okay, I release things on the axis of where the full moon is going to be occurring. I release things in both houses. And then the new moon on that same axis is where I make new intentions for the whole axis. That just made so much sense to me. And so that's how I teach it. Okay. Now, if that don't make sense to you, then I'm not the teacher for you. Okay. And so once again, so what you're going to do is you're going to locate the house where the new moon is going to be taking place in, and you're going to, once you do that, you're going to see what activity is going on in the house. If you have any personal planets that will be affected by this, you do want to take into account the degree that the new moon is going to be occurring in, because the aspects to the new moon are going to be affecting any placements that you have within that moon. And you also want to look at the transits, if there's any transits, transiting planets in the energy currently at the same time as the new moon, and if they are going to be in aspect with the new moon. All of that takes into account. Okay. And so you locate the house, that's number one. Then you see what activity is going on within the house and how that's going to be affecting things. And then you're going to set your intentions based upon the house, based upon what is going on at the time. Okay. So when I had decided that I was going to move, I didn't know. Okay, let me tell you a quick story before I get into that, because I'm going to get ready to get off. So those are the three things that you need to do. But I want to tell you a quick story and this is to really give you context on how I use my natal chart to really help make decisions and navigate my life, right? And so what I did when I decided that I was going to move, I did not know exactly when I was going to move, but I knew I was going to move. And so as I got closer, like towards the end, like at one point I had said that I was going to move during Cancer season. It was when I first decided that I was moving. I was leaving Florida. I had decided that Cancer season was going to be when I was going to move. But then as I started looking at my chart, so I decided back in February of this year that I was going to move this year in Cancer season in summer. Okay, I was going to get up out of Florida. I didn't want to be in Florida anymore. Okay, and so then from there, okay, the more I started really, really paying attention to the astrology and everything that was going on in conjunction with my chart, probably around my birthday. Yeah, probably around my birthday. I knew I was going to be moving. It had to be it was going to be after my birthday, which is the start of Libra season. Okay. And so, it was the start of Libra season this year. I think it was last year too, but it was the start of Libra season this year. So, I knew it was going to be after my birthday, but I didn't know if it was going to be like in Libra season or if it was going to be Scorpio season. But then as I started really like putting things together, because that was such a big change, then I solidified, okay, I knew it was going to be within Scorpio season because I'm making a really huge change to my fourth house, to my home. And so home is fourth house. Home is Scorpio in my chart. So Scorpio season would be the time when any major changes or big changes that I wanted to take place within the realm of my home and my family. That's when it was going to happen. Okay. So like if you're looking to have children, right? Fifth house is the house of kids and romance and dating, and it's the fun house. Is what I call the fun house. Okay, and so if you're looking to have children, okay, then you want to look to see what energy is on your fifth house, and when you have movement within your fifth house. So when the sun is there, the sun, any Venus is there, Mercury, any planet is in that. When you start having planetary activity within your fifth house, that may be the time when you really want to try to start, you know what I'm saying, working on, manifesting a child. Okay. If you're looking to get married or to get in a serious, say you've just been dating somebody and now you want to take it to the next level of, you guys getting serious or moving in together, or, then you're going to look to your seventh house. Okay. And so when you are setting your intentions for whatever it is that you want within your life, look at your chart and see whatever season we're in currently, is that energy within that area of your life that you're wanting to set those intentions. And if it's not, you can still write down things you want, but it may not, it more than likely is not going to come to fruition until that area of life we're in that energy. Okay. So I hope that made sense, because that's literally the story of how I, planned out my move. And so like now Taurus is my career. Okay. And so I have really big intentions and things that I have set for my career. Okay. And how I want to, intentions of how I want to take the channel with my content, the flow that I want to go in, the my target audience, the people who, the ladies who I, am directing my content towards, all of that. I'm making all of those changes, and it's all flowing so smoothly, right? So that's how, okay, you use, and if you, go back, I did do the steps. So locate, the energy where we are, or the new moon, where is that in your chart? See what planetary action is going on there, because you have to take that into account. And then set your intention, set the things that you are wanting to see, set that based upon the house, okay, and what's going on within that house, okay? So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please do share it out so that others can find value as well. And if you are wanting to get a energy audit with me, where I go over your sun sign, moon sign, and rising sign, and also your chart ruler, and then give you tips on how you can start utilizing the energy to align with your true self and level up in life, you can go to my link tree to book that. Let me see. Let me put that in the chat here. Where is that? And then you can also get, let me go ahead and put that here. You can book your energy audit with me here, and you can also get your free copy of my 3-step framework to become energetically synced with your natal chart. It's absolutely free. You can get that at my link tree as well. Okay. And so remember, possibilities are endless. If you can see it in your mind, then you can definitely hold it in your hand. And that should make you smile because you really do create your own reality. Have a good one.